Hey guys, tonight we begin with something a little darker. A time of plagues, punishments, and power grabs. We're diving into what life was really like during the tumultuous era of Henry V. Forget the inspiring speeches and glorious victories Hollywood sold you. The truth? You probably would have lost your head. Literally. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. And let me know in the comments where you're tuning in from and what time it is for you. It's always fascinating to see who's joining us from around the world. Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. Congratulations, you've just woken up in the year 1386. The good news? You're born into the noble house of Lancaster. The bad news? You're a tiny baby, and even in a well-off family, the odds of seeing your 5th birthday aren't great. You open your eyes in a chamber above the gatehouse of Monmouth Castle, a squat stronghold in the green borderlands between England and Wales. Your mother, Mary de Bohun, is barely 16, just a child herself. She's doing her duty, bearing children for the dynasty, a task that carries great pain and great dis-ease. One day, it will kill her. You are given the name Henry, the same as your father, Henry Bolingbroke. Your family, the Lancastrians, are among the most powerful landowning families in England, a small, closed aristocratic caste that controls power in the realm. This ticket to privilege means wealth, a better diet, longer life expectancy than the common folk, and the dignity of having your deeds recorded for posterity. But survival is far from guaranteed. At least 1 in 5 children born in Europe never see their 2nd birthday, and nearly 1/3 die before reaching adulthood. When you are born, the danger is even greater. The Black Death, a pandemic that has already cut England's population in half, keeps returning for victims, and now it disproportionately targets the young. There are theories on how to avoid infection: vomiting daily, sweating out toxins, or bloodletting. These are not for tiny babies. So, at your baptism, prayers are said asking for protection from a recently deceased Augustinian canon, John Thwing of Bridlington, known for healing the sick and banishing demons. Whether through his intercession or simple chants, the plague leaves you alone. And so, you grow up, a scrawny baby in an age that favors the strong. You enter the phase of infantia, living in petticoats and satin gowns of scarlet and white, surrounded by women. Your wet nurse is Joan Warren, whom you will remember all your life. Later, a governess, Mary Hervey, is appointed. Your mother oversees your early life. She is elegant and pious, loving fine clothes, prayer books, dogs, parrots, and chess. Above all, she loves music. She plays the harp and guitar, sings, and composes music. You grow up with the sound of horns, drums, and voices, a love you will never lose. Under your mother's care, your household moves around England's great castles and palaces in the Duchy of Lancaster, the vast landed estate of your grandfather, John of Gaunt, the richest and most powerful nobleman in England. You visit Leicester, Peterborough, Tutbury, and Kenilworth, where Gaunt's workmen are remodeling the palace. Between these moves, you learn the traditional hobbies of rich boys: hunting, fishing, riding, and running. As the family travels, it grows. Your mother is regularly pregnant. Barely a toddler, you gain a baby brother, Thomas, in late 1387, then John in June 1389, and Humphrey in October 1390. 2 sisters, Blanche and Philippa, appear in 1392 and 1394. By the time Philippa arrives, you are nearly 8 and have left the nursery. You wear linen shirts and green and white gowns lined with squirrel fur, a scarlet cap in winter, and a black straw hat in summer. You wash with soap from London and stay up after dark by a nightlight. You have survived childhood and are ready to be taught. You learn lessons in the schoolroom and the saddle. Noble life is physical. You must learn to ride, hunt, and fight relentlessly. Your parents buy the kit: saddles, swords, birds, greyhounds, armor. When you are sick, the best doctors are summoned. Trusted friends oversee your education, among them Peter Melbourne, a childhood companion of your father. You take to books as naturally as physical pursuits. Your mother's prayer books are gorgeous, precious. She owns tales of Lancelot, graphically illustrated. You have your own books too. At age 8, you receive 7 volumes on Latin grammar. These texts abound with pagan and Christian wisdom. You study Aesop, Roman proverbs, and stories of Saint Bernard of Clairvaux. You learn Latin, the language of the Church, and French, the tongue of the European aristocracy. You are literate in Latin, French, and English, the last re-emerging as a language of high literature and government. From earliest years, you are well read and interested in words and ideas, admiring men who wield the pen as well as the sword. Congratulations, you are nearing your 8th birthday. The good news? Your life continues. The bad news? Your mother dies in 1394 at Peterborough, killed by the trauma of delivering her 6th child, Philippa. She is only 25. Her death comes as the family mourns another loss. Your grandfather, John of Gaunt's wife, Constanza. The 2 funerals take place on consecutive days in July at the Church of the Annunciation of Our Lady of Newark in Leicester, a Lancastrian ducal mausoleum. You are just old enough to remember your mother and cherish her memory. Mary taught you and your brothers to love music, learning, books, and God. You memorialize her by loving these things yourself. You travel with your siblings to live with your maternal grandmother, Joan Fitzallen, Countess of Hereford, at Bytham Castle. Your education continues, but by your 10th birthday, it is clear you cannot live much longer as a child. You are your father's eldest son, and your father is Henry Bolingbroke. English politics will soon drag you away from the schoolroom into the adult world, a world of peril, rebellion, exile, and death. Above all, it is a world shaped by the peculiar character of King Richard II. Richard II has been king since 1377, crowned at age 10. Initially hailed as a savior, he has grown into a king with a highly developed sense of royal majesty, but instincts tending toward peace abroad and tyrannical severity at home, the reverse of what a Plantagenet king should be. Your father, Bolingbroke, is almost the same age as Richard, but completely different in temperament. For a time, you boys were raised side by side, knighted together at age 10 on St. George's Day in 1377 by the frail Edward III. Richard was crowned months later, and Bolingbroke held the ceremonial sword, curtana, at the heart of the pageantry. In the first years of Richard's reign, Bolingbroke attended court, dressed in exquisite fabrics, exchanged gifts, gambled, hunted, and even jousted. You lads experienced the terrors of the 1381 rebellion together when crowds ransacked London, lynching high royal officials, burning Gaunt's Savoy Palace, and breaking into the Tower. Bolingbroke escaped capture only because a loyal soldier hid him in a wardrobe. But in recent years, the cousins have grown apart. Richard has surrounded himself with favorites, excluding Bolingbroke. These toadies are a symptom, not the cause, of the problem. The king is theatrical, physically imposing, yet flittish, quarrelsome, and petulant. He loves the trappings of monarchy, but doesn't understand the grave office. Instead of seeking able men, he promotes sycophants, convincing himself he is threatened by enemies. He is easy with lavish gifts, but even easier with cruel words. Sometimes he is violent. A few months before your birth, he punched the Earl of Arundel. Still, Richard is king, and it is at his pleasure Bolingbroke remains in line for Gaunt's vast estates. With the king's blessing, Bolingbroke holds his junior title of Earl of Derby. It was Richard's say-so that allowed his 1381 marriage to Mary de Bohun, bringing her share of the huge Bohun inheritance into the Lancastrian orbit. And it will be with Richard's approval that you, in time, will assume your place in the Lancastrian family and public life. First, though, you must survive. Congratulations, you are now 10 years old. The good news? You are about to embark on your first international diplomatic mission. The bad news? It's King Richard's wedding, a lavish display of the truce he hopes will end the 100 Years' War, a conflict his belligerent uncle Thomas of Woodstock, Duke of Gloucester, dismisses as unworthy of a Plantagenet king. You leave England for the first time in late October 1396 aboard a fleet heading from Dover to Calais for the wedding of King Richard and Isabel, eldest daughter of Charles VI of France. You have fine new things, including 4 saddles with silver gilt fittings, to look your best for the party. The marriage is meant to halt hostilities for 28 years. Richard and Charles intend to celebrate. Teams of engineers, builders, and caterers have erected a temporary city of over 200 shimmering pavilions protected by a large wooden palisade near Ardres. Among the pavilions are kitchens, dressing rooms, kennels, stables, chapels, and washrooms. The stylish king has a wardrobe department and treasurers with wagon loads of gifts. For a week, this tent city whirls with thousands of barons, ladies, knights, bishops, soldiers, servants, and priests. There will be games, plays, music, feasts, and dances. Regulations forbid clamors, brawls, disputes, or insulting words. The stakes are high. You travel with your father in John of Gaunt's Lancastrian party. At 10, you are old enough to grasp why you are there. This is the first diplomatic summit Richard has held with another great monarch, and he is pulling out all the stops. That means showing off his entourage, flanked by as many nobles, friends, and family as possible. The presence of youngsters like you is essential to the dignity of the king's traveling court. Boys like you represent the future. You are also bargaining chips. Talk of arranging a wedding for you abounds, most notably to Marie, the 5-year-old daughter of the Duke of Brittany. Nothing comes of this, but the mere mention reminds you of what you are. A boy, yes, but part of something much greater, a body politic whose needs you must serve. What brought the English to Calais? You must know the history. England and France have been at war for 59 years. Ever since the Norman conquest, English rulers held territories in France, drawing them into contests. This war began in 1337, when your great-grandfather Edward III intervened in a French succession crisis, claiming the crown by right, committed to proving it by military conquest. Since then, the war has defined relations, dragging in Spain, Scotland, and the Low Countries. It consisted of intense bloody fighting interspersed with lulls. In 1360, peace seemed made with the Treaty of Bretigny, by which Edward gave up his French crown claim for money and French territory. But in 1369, it collapsed. Full-blown war has never been more than an ill-tempered word away. For some, this is welcome. Hawks on both sides question peace on any terms but their most favorable. The war has given the English ruling classes an outlet for militarism and a source of plunder. The loudest pro-war voice belongs to Richard's youngest uncle, the Duke of Gloucester, who dismisses the French as full of hot air. His words find a willing audience. Even amid disillusionment, the public reveres veterans who have been great warriors and have destroyed and won many lands. Against this is the truth that war strains finances and unity. English parliaments complain bitterly about the cost. Pragmatists ask what victory would look like. Anti-war polemicists argue Christian-on-Christian violence hinders crusading. Both Charles VI and Richard II incline to these arguments. Neither has the stomach or resources for a vast military surge. The French king condemned the conflict where so many evils have occurred: churches destroyed, women raped. The English king agrees, hence the truce. England and France will refrain from fighting for many years, hoping to stir European princes against their mutual, infidel enemy, the Ottoman Turks. A large crusading army has already departed, and they hope accord will heal the papal schism, in which two popes claim legitimacy. It is not a full peace, but the next best thing. Why a wedding? Richard's first wife, Anne of Bohemia, died of plague in 1394, aged 28. Richard has never been stable, and Anne's death inspired extreme anguish. He tore down the palace where she died, vowed never to visit places they went together. At Anne's funeral, the Earl of Arundel arrived late, and Richard attacked him. Yet in tragedy lies opportunity. As a bachelor, Richard can marry again. Royal weddings are the highest value currency for international relations. Isabel's dowry is said to be nearly 1,000,000 francs. They can seal truces, and they are vital for dynasty building, pressing for the nearly 30-year-old Richard, who has no children. If he dies tomorrow, relatives will vie to replace him. Roger Mortimer, Earl of March, comes first. The Lancastrians may not be far behind. England is happier with a king's child heir, not extended family. So even a boy of your age can understand how Richard's marriage meets statecraft needs. Still, you may wonder how Isabel can help Richard produce princes. It's not that anything is amiss with the girl, whose portrait was sent ahead, nor is there suggestion she can't bear children in time. The problem? Her time lies far in the future. Isabel of Valois was born in 1389. She is not quite 7 years old. On the morning of Thursday, October 26, 1396, you are in Richard's vast entourage as the king rides out of Calais to the fluttering pavilion field at Ardres. As Calais recedes, you appreciate the city, England's nearest enclave on the French side. Its seaward aspect was visible when your ship landed, harbor guarded by a fort and gun battery. On land, Calais is impressive. Soaring defensive walls merge into castle defenses, protected by deep moats. Beyond sprawls marshland, passable only by causeways. On islands stand other fortresses securing this port. As the English pass, you may learn from veterans how much blood their ancestors spilled to win Calais 50 years ago. During winter 1346-47, Edward III, your father, the Black Prince, and your great-grandfather William de Bohun led an 11-month siege. Calais' garrison expelled useless mouths and contemplated cannibalism before opening gates. So this is war, you reflect. This is what a warrior king must do. The first meeting between Richard and Charles VI takes place Friday, October 27th. The scene is minutely choreographed. To emphasize harmony, Richard parades flanked by French dukes, Berry and Orleans. He wears scarlet, a hat dangling pearls. Charles wears red velvet, accompanied by John of Gaunt and Gloucester. Hundreds of disarmed knights file behind. Monarchs meet at a pillar. Attendants kneel, exchange wine, gold rings. They vow to found a church on the spot. Kings and advisors disappear into a pavilion until nightfall. As they go, you reflect on the strangeness of these two. Richard is familiar, tall, well-built, long face, high brows, haughty resting expression, stammers. He spends huge sums on clothes, always magnificent. This leaves a deep impression, yet Richard's pomp emphasizes his unkingliness. He doesn't fight, sire children, inspires caution, not respect. You may compare him unfavorably with Arthurian lore, or your father, Bolingbroke, a proven warrior. But then there is Charles VI, no less strange, almost 2 years younger than Richard. Instinct for grandeur, no weakling. Problem, his health, poor for 4 years. In 1392, Charles suffered psychotic episodes, attacking relatives, not recognizing his queen. Last year, he thought he was St. George. Charles's unpredictable madness strains government. Factions vie for control. Poison seeps through French politics. You cannot know how rotten things are, but you will, in time. The next day is a washout. Rainstorms so violent, they seem like heaven is opening for the first time. The kings continue discussions, but outside, the tempest lashes tents, some collapsing. Sunday is for prayer. On the 5th and final day, Monday, October 30th, rain clears, prayers abate. Time for the pageant. What unfolds is symbolic and real. You, presumably, see it all. With politicking done, Richard and Charles meet at the peace field. They discussed military garrisons, dowry, ending the schism, possible joint expeditions, Richard's wish for aid against his subjects. Talking is over. Charles brings his daughter Isabel, carried by Berry and Burgundy, trailed by noble ladies, adorned with crowns of gold and precious stones. Isabel is dressed as France itself, golden diadem, blue dress sewn with fleur-de-lis. She is crying. Richard thanks her father for the fine gift. These kindly words characterize a bland relationship. She is so young, her dolls are packed with her jewels. Isabel is taken off by English ladies to be comforted, prepared for life as a queen, awaiting puberty and the king's full attention. Meanwhile, the crowds wait. Diplomatic business is transacted. Proclamations are made. Treasure changes hands, weighed out. This is diplomacy. Perhaps you are restless to return. You may have questions. What feels like being a king? Marrying strategically? Peacemaking? Or war? Fantasize about what you would do with a crown? You don't know that you will find out. Under different circumstances, in a different world, you will force peace. It won't look like Richard's way, but you will share one thing. You, too, will take a daughter from the poor, afflicted, mad king, Charles of France. Congratulations. It is now September 1397. The good news? You are celebrating your 11th birthday at a plush party in London. The bad news? The guest of honor is King Richard, and the next day, his parliament is likely to be explosive. Your father hires a house on Fleet Street and throws a party. You and your brother Thomas, as eldest children, attend. Appearing publicly at your father's elbow is regular now. part of your education in Latin, saddle, and sword. The house belongs to John Rote, a wealthy skinner and politician. Fleet Street is a smart address, running to Westminster. Buildings boast gardens, with wharves onto the Thames. Given the surroundings, you are dressed stylishly, wearing new gowns. As you mingle, adjusting to the feel, there is much to take in. You listen to minstrels, watch revelries on barges with Lancastrian livery, admire brightly painted birds, doves, curlews, parrots. It is a fine scene because it needs to be. The guest of honor is King Richard, presiding over Parliament tomorrow. Richard's parliaments have been stages for high drama. This one feels explosive. You and Thomas realize your father is on edge. London is packed with soldiers. Lancastrians have 500 men-at-arms and 1,000 archers billeted around London. The king has a bodyguard of 2,000 Cheshire archers, his private lordship. Most great English nobility are in the capital, at the party, but some are absent. The king's uncle, Gloucester, was arrested in summer, imprisoned in Calais for 11 weeks. Two others, Arundel and Warwick, are under arrest in the Tower and Isle of Wight. Legal cases are prepared against them, based on offenses 10 years earlier. The fate of Gloucester, Arundel, and Warwick must be on adults' minds. You and Thomas may worry who else might be dragged in. Amid the glamour and music, English politics is curdling. Plots hatch, alliances shift, ancient grievances resurface. Dangerously close to this is your father. He played a part in events a decade ago that led to this. His fate, like theirs, may be determined tomorrow. Bolingbroke knows, and his sons may know, he is caught up in events beyond his control. Bolingbroke turned 30 this year. He is famous, has seen and done much in your 11 years, traveled the world, proven himself a warrior, raised a family, yet he is snared in Richard's politics, facing maximum jeopardy. The crux. In 1386, the year you were born, Bolingbroke joined nobles who took Richard to task for poor kingship, problems, failure in the French war, invasion seemed likely, enchantment with favorites, De Vere, Suffolk, leaders, Arundel, Warwick, Gloucester. At the wonderful Parliament, 1386, they demanded Suffolk's sack. Richard resisted. Gloucester threatened deposition. This worked. Suffolk was removed. Lords formed a council for a year, stripping king's power. Medium term, dire consequences. Unsurprising for a king crowned at 10, Richard felt psychological attachment to dignity. He didn't take kindly to being thwarted. In 1386, he was obliged to obey. But he wriggled out. Next year, he got judges to declare lords traitors. In response, appellants, Arundel, Warwick, Gloucester, issued appeal of treason, arguing real traitors were Richard's men, De Vere, De la Pole, Tressilian, Brembre. Sides raised troops. This is when your father, Bolingbroke, was drawn in. He and Thomas Mowbray threw in with older lords, forming the appellants. To defend himself, De Vere raised an army. On a foggy December day, appellants intercepted De Vere at Radcott Bridge. Bolingbroke trapped his men against the Thames, attacked them as public enemies. De Vere escaped, plunging into the Thames, but couldn't stay. Richard's immense sorrow, he died in 1392 from boar hunting. De Vere's exile was personal tragedy. Humiliation followed. Appellants debated deposing Richard, decided to remove favorites. In January 1388, they purged the household and judiciary. Merciless Parliament condemned De Vere, De la Pole, Brembre, Tressilian to death. Tressilian and Brembre were hanged. 3 friends executed, including childhood tutor Simon Burley. Richard was attached to Burley, pleaded for his life. Bolingbroke and Mowbray inclined to spare him. Arundel, Warwick, Gloucester were adamant. Burley was beheaded on Tower Hill. By spring 1388, appellants achieved their goal, but Richard never forgot the pain, became filled with an ardent desire to exact revenge. In 1397, he is ready for pitiless, theatrical revenge. You will witness it. The day after the party, Parliament opens in Westminster. You and Thomas watch some proceedings, new robes for the occasion. What unfolds is extraordinary political performance. This is your first Parliament. Strange and chilling, some lessons will remain. Parliament opening is significant. Assemblies of lords and commons, urban burgesses, knights of shire, summoned at king's pleasure, shadowed by clergy, called when king needs taxes, convention, taxes for reform. But Richard is not that king. Over his reign, addicted to theatrical opportunities, touchy about slights to dignity. When you join the crowds, tone is set. Parliament's place, large marquee and palace yard, hall roof rebuilt by Henry Yeveley. Richard presides in greater splendor and solemnity. Around marquee, thousands of Cheshire archers. Guards are seen as thugs, ready to commit any sort of crime. This is the point. Previous Parliament criticized policy, Scottish border defense, private armies, royal household costs. King was enraged, wants no repeat. Archers deliver warning. Message delivered by King's Chancellor, Bishop of Exeter. Opening speech theme, Ezekiel. I will make them one nation in the land, no longer two nations. Meaning explained, for good governance, three things required: power to govern, laws kept, executed, subjects obedient. Biblical verse, authoritarian commentary clear. Richard wants harmony by absolute adherence to royal will. Darker, preceding Ezekiel verses. God shows prophet dry bones, orders him to preach. Bones come together, sinews, flesh, skin, undead army. God tells Ezekiel, behold, I will open your graves and raise you from your graves, and I will bring you home. To anyone who knows this, Chancellor's speech is chilling. Peace means reconciliation, settling old scores. King brings country together, but first, satisfaction for old friends. Whether you and Thomas stay or are sent back is unknown, but you and the land follow with horror. Speaker John Bussey accuses 3 appellants of treason. Friday, September 21st. Arundel brought before Parliament for actions 10 years ago. Arundel claims benefit of pardon. Steward of England tells him no claim. He's a traitor. Steward, your grandfather, John of Gaunt. Arundel, dressed for martyrdom, rounds on Gaunt and Bussey, accuses Gaunt of treachery, tells Bussey not to act faithfully, but to shed my blood. Then Bolingbroke speaks up, to divisions among appellants 10 years ago, explains why he's free, Arundel prisoner. Bolingbroke claims Arundel plotted to make King prisoner in 1386. Ringleader. Arundel shouts, you lie in your teeth. Wrong audience. King steps in, points out Arundel refused mercy on Burley. Arundel is hot with rage. No more damning witness than Bolingbroke. No hope from King. End is formality. Arundel splutters. Richard calls judgment. Gaunt passes sentence. Arundel forfeits lands, titles. Marched out of Westminster to London. Like Burley, killed as traitor on Tower Hill. If you are not in crowd of gawpers, you see and hear masses passing Rote's house. Great crowd of citizens who mourn. See Earl himself, walking coolly, as if he had been asked out to dinner. At Tower, headsman waits. Full sentence for treachery. Drawing, hanging, quartering, disembowelment, castration. Respect of noble birth. Spared this. Executioner removes head with axe. Arundel tests blade. Kneels. After blow, body allegedly rises. Headless. Stands for length of paternoster. Sure sign admitted. To fellowship of the saints. Shocking end. But Arundel, not only one. Why are you and Thomas safe? Good question. After Arundel dead, brother Thomas brought before Parliament. Thomas was appellant ally, but served as Richard's chancellor, Archbishop of Canterbury. Seemed safe, yet involvement never forgotten. Revenge is served cold. As churchman, avoids brother's fate. Deprived of sea, exiled to Italy. Next, king's uncle, Gloucester, summoned. Doesn't come? Reason shocks Parliament. Gloucester imprisoned in Calais. Jailer, Thomas Mowbray, former junior appellant. Mowbray asked to produce. Prisoner. Reports Gloucester died. Doesn't reveal truth. Weeks ago. Smothered with pillow in Calais pub on King's orders. Facts emerge later. Probably guessed now. Everyone accepts new reality. Noble bloodbath. Finally, Warwick comes. Pathetic, state, sobbing and whining. Pitiful display saves life. Like Arundel, stripped of lands, titles, exiled forever to Isle of Man. So in short order, all three senior appellants dealt with, 10 years after betrayal. One executed, one murdered, one banished in tears. Bolingbroke and Mowbray live, no bleeding or crying. Reason clear, you and Thomas must see it. Father acquiesced in revenge, free, because they helped, in different ways, ensure shameful deaths of allies. Choice, principles or skins. Chosen skins. Last day of Parliament, they reap rewards. Bolingbroke made Duke of Hereford. Mowbray, Duke of Norfolk. Other high titles handed out like sweets to Duchetti, little dukes, sniggering done with care. Richard's tyranny is real. Parliament suspended September 30th. King demands oaths. King hosts banquet. They reconvene in January at Shrewsbury. Guess awaits. In the new year, your role shifts from observer to participant. Your father, newly minted Duke of Hereford, spends months in King's orbit, traveling Westminster, Windsor, Woodstock, lodges younger children at Eton Trega's with John of Gaunt's attorney Sir Hugh Waterton, who oversaw Bolingbroke's education. 11-year-old you don't stay with siblings. You are with father. Witness turmoil at court firsthand. Dangerous new political climate since Revenge Parliament. Following Purge, Richard's capricious approach unchecked. Exults in majesty. Adopts majesty as a dress. Sits aloof, dressed in gold, attended by sycophants, playing game of absolute power. Casts gaze. Whomever it lights on must grovel. Richard recruits men to private army, badge, white hart, sends blank charters to men he distrusts, demanding seals on blank parchment for fake confessions. Cheshire archers, his militia, run wild, terrorize England. Beat and wound with impunity. Rob, rape, kill. Speak to king in honeyed tones, call him Dickon. Say he can sleep securely. Artwork commissioned by King shows Richard, kneeling with favorite saints, greeting Virgin Mary, Christ child, surrounded by angels in white hearts. Protection offered. Madness or melodrama, narcissism or tyranny. Writers fawn, rejoice, royal majesty, soaring in arms. Others not sure. Rumor, Arundel's body recoupled with head. Sign King's triumph hollow. You are in better position to judge. Possible you fall in with fawners. Decades later, writer claims Richard shines kingly light on you, saying, "Greatest of my house shall be born a child, renowned throughout the world." That Henry is Bolingbroke's son. Don't know how you respond. Perfectly possible Richard's imperious show, attractive to child's mind, why he enjoys it so much. Later, you show respect for Richard's memory, instinct for high political theater, surely learned from watching Richard firsthand. In the new year, your role moves from observer to participant. Your father drags you in. At Revenge Parliament, Bolingbroke abetted Allies' destruction. Fifth appellant, Mowbray, oversaw Gloucester's murder. Both rewarded for complicity, neither safe. Meet on road. December 1397, Mowbray unloads fears, tells Bolingbroke they about to be undone. Alleges king, cronies plotting murder. Partly spite, partly removed from succession, confiscate duchy. Bolingbroke's story reacts with horror, exclaims, God forbid, king sworn by St. Edward, asks how anyone trust feckless king. That's just it, Mowbray replies. No one trust him. Even if allies spared, king intends destroying us in our homes 10 years hence. Leaves thought. Bolingbroke does sensible thing. Tells father, Gaunt. Asks advice. Gaunt takes matter to king. Parliament reopens end of month in Shrewsbury. Last two appellants come wrapped in intrigue. Special committee investigates Bolingbroke's claims against Mowbray, who denies. Report advises duel to decide. Duels rare. Church frowned. Magna Carta. Peers judgment. Celebrated duel decade earlier in France between knight and squire to settle rape accusation. Didn't involve nobles or high politics. Stirred precisely because unusual. Nevertheless, 1398. Staged battle between subjects appeals to king. Richard agrees. Time, place. Monday, September 16th. Coventry Tournament Field. Fight to death. God ensures innocent man wins. Bolingbroke and Mowbray have 5 months to prepare. The summer of 1398 must be time of nerves, excitement, wonder, terror. Education told you such things happen. Scripture teaches God intervenes. Histories portray combat as ultimate measure. Now this is real. On your 12th birthday, happening to your father, to your family, to you. Comfort. Father good at fighting. Bolingbroke spent young years absent, honing martial skills. After appellant affair, threw himself into chivalric adventure to burnish reputation. 1390, traveled to Saint-Anglever, France, tournament. Rode 10 jousts against famous knight Boucicaut, praised by poets. Next, Baltic coast, crusade against Lithuanians, fought 2 seasons with Teutonic knights. Autumn 1392, Mediterranean tour, Venice, Corfu, Rhodes, Cyprus, Jerusalem. Returned summer 1393, with exotic souvenirs, parrot for mother, leopard from king of Cyprus. So, reassure yourself, father knows what he does. King allows him liberty before duel, Mowbray locked up. You, Thomas, siblings follow father's preparations, travels ceaselessly around estates, staying in tenants' eyes, hearts, aware he exchanges letters, gifts, envoys with combat experts. Contacts old sparring partner Boucicaut, now Marshal of France. Milan Duke Visconti supplies armor, sends armorers. Betting man inclined to Bolingbroke. Stakes high. Loser likely killed. Reputation shredded. King may disinherit family. You know father must win. Nothing but victory. On morning Thursday, October 26th, 1386, you are in Richard's entourage, riding out of Calais to Ardres. Wait, that's the wedding? Same date? No, the duel is 1398. My mistake. Let's get back on track. On the last day of August 1398, official invitations to the duel are sent out. First weeks of September, dignitaries from Europe arrive at Coventry Tournament Ground. Day arrives, Monday, September 16th. Everything as king wants. Picture perfect, dreamlike. Duel begins in saddle, likely finishes on foot. Father has horses, armor, lance, Pavilion stitched with red roses, carries shield with red cross, Mowbray and finery. King presides, radiant solemn. Cheshire archers surround lists, forbidding touching barriers. Richard hears combatants' oaths. Bolingbroke, prove Mowbray a traitor, false and recreant. Orders ground emptied. Crowd falls silent. Barriers opened. Bolingbroke, Mowbray, advance where they will fight, perhaps die. But after Bolingbroke takes 7 or 8 paces toward his adversary, King rises, cries, "Ho! Ho!" Orders them surrender weapons, return to pavilions. Disappears into private quarters. Prepare next dramatic flourish. 2 hours later re-emerges. Decision proclaimed. Henry of Lancaster, appellant, and Thomas Mowbray, defendant, have both appeared here valiantly, ready to do his duty like a brave knight. But because matters so weighty, decreed by the king and council, that Henry of Lancaster shall quit realm for 10 years, and, if he return, shall be hanged and beheaded. Crowd erupts, quietened Mowbray's sentence. Thomas of Mowbray shall quit realm for rest of his life, choose whether he would dwell in Prussia, Bohemia, or Hungary, shall never return to set foot again on Christian land, and that all his lands shall remain in the king's hands. Given 5 weeks to pack, go. What is a 12-year-old boy to make of this? So much happens. Splendor, romantic drama of interruption, astonishing caprice of king, substituting God's judgment. Realization, you will lose father for a decade. First step toward ruin of family. Speculation swirls about king's deep purpose. Genuine concern for dispute. Blatant scheme for revenge. Something else? Since king inclined to Bolingbroke, some muse Richard intends reduce sentence further. 6 years? Fewer? Cynical observers disagree. Conspiracy theory. King told fortune-teller Mowbray, win, pleased. When Bolingbroke winning, King stopped duel. Thinking, Mowbray will be back early. Whatever case, you bank on not seeing father for long time. Short time before banishment, Bolingbroke makes provisions for all 6 children. Younger 3, Humphrey, Blanche, Philippa, remain with Waterton at Eton Tregaws. Small servant group. Maidservants tie girl's hair. Chaplain says mass for dead mother Mary. Your 9-year-old brother John, lodged in London with 60-year-old Grand Dame Margaret Brotherton, Duchess of Norfolk, granddaughter of Edward I, keeps opulent household between city and Framlingham Castle. John grows up surrounded by luxury, learning French. Thomas and you stayed with Margaret before, not this time. Bolingbroke takes Thomas, just turned 11, into exile. Household includes 100 servants, wagon loads treasure. No travel restrictions. Go first to Paris, perhaps Italy, or Spanish Peninsula. Bolingbroke's sister, Queen Portugal. Another Queen Castile. Thomas ought to be excited by grand adventure. Circumstances trying. You may envy him, wonder if father has favorite son. Father has no choice, nor do you. You are senior male of Lancaster House. Anything happens to Bolingbroke in exile, you are scion. That matters. Family patriarch, gaunt, approaching 60th birthday. Not certain he alive when banishment up. Bolingbroke allowed appoint attorneys handle legal matters in England. Banned under pain of treason, asking come home early. Gaunt dies. Bolingbroke in exile. You must fight for estates. So you reside only plausible place for adolescent, on whose shoulders hangs weighty inheritance. You stay in England, with grandfather Gaunt, in orbit of King Richard. Winter approaches, you live in limbo. End of October 1398. Father and Thomas settled in Paris. Through messengers send news. Not all bad. welcomed graciously by Charles VI, enjoying lucidity between relapses. Bolingbroke, fated everywhere, lives in style at Hôtel de Clisson, collects income from England. Richard allows revenue from Mary de Bohun's lands. Considering joining French crusade against Ottomans, make time of his banishment pass sooner away. May marry again, Barry's daughter floated, nevertheless prone to melancholy on being thus separated from his family. You may feel same. Here, in England, king, not mad, bad, dangerous to know. Like younger brothers, John, Humphrey, scattered, you continue education, developing artistic, knightly interests. Play harp, study chess, care for sword, scabbard wrapped in silk. Visit maternal grandmother Joan, love dearly. Spend time with Gaunt at Leicester, watched by retainer Peter Melbourne. Loyal servant Melbourne may cheer you with stories overseas with Bolingbroke, crusade in Prussia, pilgrimage to Jerusalem. Perhaps you imagine doing this one day. Perhaps when older visit father. Certainly, you will be a man before Bolingbroke comes home. Or so it seems until winter settles. As nights shorten, grounds freeze, clear Gaunt not well. Eldest son's banishment stole something vital. Duke falls into sudden languor, old age, heaviness that his son was so sorely treated. Takes to bed, magnificent furniture, sheets with gold roses, ostrich feathers. Won't, cannot, rise. Physicians bustle, grave opinions. Prognosis serious. Messenger sent to Paris inform Bolingbroke. Father labors under so dangerous a disease it must soon cause his death. Richard visits, speaks courteously. Pleasant words. Bring state documents. Keep mind busy. Later, scurrilous rumor. Gaunt shows king rotting genitals. Vice Richard not troubled by. Improbable. February 3rd, 1399. Gaunt dies. 58. Lived eventful life. Managed cordial terms with nephew Richard. Not always popular, particularly London. Support for Wycliffe earned scorn. Chroniclers call him great adulterer. True statesman of Richard's reign. Mourned with great, unorthodox solemnity. Gaunt's will. Unusual request. Body laid out. Unburied. Unembalmed for 40 days. Executors include Melbourne. Respect wishes. Not buried until March 16th near St. Paul's Cathedral. Next to first wife, Blanche. Grandmother you never met. You and siblings bought mourning robes. Black. Little girls wear head to toe black. Matching shoes. Day of burial. Children see paupers. Gather for alms. Hermits, lepers, friars, generous handouts. See St. Paul's flicker by many candles surrounding putrefying corpse. Arranged in groups, 10 for commandments broken, 7 deadly sins, 5 human senses offended. Memorable, somber day. In Paris, Bolingbroke holds Requiem Mass. Attended by Charles VI, royal dukes. Much sympathy among French court. Found exile, amiable knight. Dismay on his behalf when messengers arrive just days after English funeral. Tell Bolingbroke what's common knowledge. King Richard decided not allow Bolingbroke claim inheritance as Duke of Lancaster. Takes lands into temporary management. Forbidden Bolingbroke take hereditary steward post. Grants it to surviving uncle, Edmund Langley, Duke of York. Extended banishment, 10 years to life. Under harsh decree, father never have Gaunt's titles states. Never return to England. In turbulent aftermath of Gaunt's death, father's dispossession, you move out of Leicester Castle. You and Peter Melbourne summoned by King Richard to attend him in person. Richard, seldom bolder than when he throws weight around, concludes snatching duchy means mighty position for greater business. Vexed by unruly Ireland. determined reverse decline of English control. Henry and Melbourne told follow him, part so king burnishes with noble entourage, part so Richard keeps eye on you. If Richard believes you child prophesied take crown, sensible decision. Also, insurance policy. King doesn't expect Bolingbroke meekly accept disinheritance. You are guest, easily turned hostage if Bolingbroke gets rash ideas. You have no choice. Lancastrian inheritance snatched. Gaunt's household ceased. Father cannot help. Melbourne cannot. Richard stripped offices, overridden capacity to execute will. You no means support self unless King grants estate, title, living. Richard instructs Royal Exchequer allow 500 year. Generous stipend, not fortune. Granting exposes reliance on Richard's favor. Best hope? Obey King. Hope favor continues. Maybe one day, pet noble Ducati. Whatever you think of Richard, reality. 3 weeks after Gaunt's funeral, you and Melbourne moved to royal court, ordered prepare military expedition. Buy arms, armor, sundries. Spend $50 with London Skinner. Heard enough about Ireland to know what needed. Cold, wet. Prepare quickly. King wants off before spring. Events move rapidly, not favorably for Richard. In Paris, opinion. King of England very ill-advised, not to recall. Bolingbroke. Wisely considered consequences. He done it. Affairs not turned out so miserably. Ireland strange place for king. Not one since Richard's ancestor King John. Plantagenets claim lordship, drew income. Richard's day. Network semi-loyal Anglo-Irish nobles. Helpless colonial government dug in Dublin. Financed at steep loss. Richard long determined reverse decline. Already visited, 1394-95, with troops. Tour from Waterford to Drogheda. Satisfied basis, one visit understood problems. Letter to council. 3 types. Irishmen, Irish savages, Irish rebels, obedient English. Solving. Reconcile all 3. Send friends deputize. Failed. Return 1399, attempt reboot. You and Melbourne sail Milford Haven to Waterford, first day June. Company king, vast host, entire English court. Richard's favored nobles, Ducati appointed 1397. Boatloads, Cheshire archers, English attitudes, Irish savages, not kind. Stevedores, Waterford, harbour, wretched and filthy. Royal Army rides Waterford to Kilkenny, waits. Try locate chieftain Art McMurrough, aroused wrath. McMurrough, no fool. English approach, vanished. Richard left distract self-burning villager homes. Misery spread. Buoyed by triumph, sends for young men from army. Tells them to be made knights. You foremost among group. Wondered in favor? No now. Making noble boys knights out of military campaign traditional. Richard's father, Black Prince, dubbed at 16 before Crécy, 1346. Your turn. King orders space cleared. Pennons, banners hoisted. Performs ritual. Calls you fair cousin. Tells you be worthy, valiant. Some valiant blood to conquer. Writer observes scene adamant. No dark motive. Richard performs ceremony. True and entire affection. You cannot resent maid knight. Natural step. Nervous, too. No father likely unlikely consider knighthood. Favor fair exchange for duchy. Bolingbroke. Thomas boiling with rage in Paris. Will father act? What? How long king's favor last? Buoyed by young knights. Richard's army slogs. Through forests pursuit disobedient Irishmen. Provisions run low. Group hungry. Miserable. Resupplied with Spanish wine. Drink too much. Troops quarrel. McMurrough cited. Not subdued. Parley with noble adviser McMurrough tells him rightful king. Rides away. Party presses on. July 1st. Arrive Dublin. Weather shocking, wind blowing sharply. Ships cannot enter, leave port. Outrageous tempest blows itself out. Vessel arrives with message, occasion of much sorrow. Father no longer in Paris. Knowing Charles VI never approved breaking exile terms, made pact with French king's brother, Louis, Duke of Orleans. Reckless, controversial, schemes for power. Orleans bought time political cover escape capital, board small ship Boulogne, sailed for England, made land Ravenspur, Yorkshire. No army, few dozen servants. Brought 2 exiles, Thomas Arundel, former Archbishop banished, 1397 Parliament, executed brother, Earl's 17-year-old son, Thomas Fitzalan. Bolingbroke heading to father's lands, announced to loyalists back, assuring everyone, come only claim inheritance. King's Uncle York responded mustering army, towns opening gates, followers flocking. If Richard cares about realm, stop chasing McMurrough. Hurry back. Those near King when he receives news, shocked. Turns pale with horror. Rage. Calls council. Agree head back. Face down. Bolingbroke. Summons you. Second time in month. Face King. Henry, says Richard, what your father has done. Waste. Sorry for you. Thanks to his misdeeds, he may well have cost you your own patrimony. Delicate moment. Must decide loyalty. Summon adult voice. Sad to hear rumor. Believe I am innocent. Stating obvious. No idea how unfold. Probably realize not allowed witness firsthand. Mercifully, unvarnished truth satisfies Richard. Doesn't punish you. Confirms no chance going home soon. Instead, packed off 30 miles north Dublin to Trim Castle, stronghold on Boyne, cross-shaped keep, thick walls, huge gatehouses. Company, 18-year-old cousin Humphrey, son of murdered Gloucester. Eleanor de Bohun, mother's sister. Richard instructs young men not be poorly treated, for time being. Kept ignorant, arm's length from events England. Nearly 2 months pass before find out feud unfolded. Highest political drama? Constitutional drama. Effects shape English history. End of summer ship puts into Dublin. From Chester, called Henry Dryhurst. Come fetch you and Humphrey. Bring home consignment red wine. Furniture of chapel and its ornaments, left by King Richard in Ireland. Also birth England for boys. Dryhurst's sailors bring news. Father not simply returned claim duchy, estates, led rebellion, gathering large popular force, seizing, executing Richard's supporters, capturing Richard, imprisoning, one cousin other in possession, one outcome, Richard deposed by cajolement or force. New king appointed. Henry Bolingbroke crowned King Henry IV. You will be his heir. Congratulations, you are back in England. The good news? Your father is king, and you are his heir. The bad news? Death is in the air, and the realm is riven with disorder. When you arrive back in Chester, mid-August 1399, death is in air. City capital, King Richard's loyal county. Recruitment hub for Archer bodyguard. Ricardian heartland. Stake stands outside East Gate. Recently severed head of Richard's supporter, Perkin Lee, forest warden Delamere. In new party's eyes, perverted great malefactor, liked dress as monk, inflict countless oppressions. Decapitated in phony garb. Dead eyes gaze blindly. City abandoned master. Lee not only dead. Learn father, at large with army, already captured, just slaughtered Richard's advisors. William Lescrope, John Bussey, Revenge Parliament Speaker, Henry Green. Glance countryside around Chester. Countless more unnamed lost lives, livelihoods. Father's men swept through Cheshire allowed worst. For 2 years Cheshiremen inflicted murders, wrongs. Chronicle. Devastated land everywhere. Churches ransacked. Come to terms with this. Suggests father's character return. Process death father's partisans. Nothing to do with. Journey from Trim to Chester. 18-year-old cousin Humphrey fell sick. Deteriorated. Later said poisoned. Reached Chester. Humphrey breathed last. Boy summer imprisonment. Trim now corpse, you alive. Effect. Humphrey's death unknown. Two young cousins spent summer Trim. Found common ground. Conversation beyond imprisonment facts. Like you, Humphrey grew up literate household. Mother Bohun family. Library family seat. Pleshy full French romances. Arthurian stories. Religious texts. If bonded, been over mutual knowledge. Your love for literature. Never talk again. Return to Chester. Stock of happening. Ask self-sense in death claiming Humphrey. Sparing you. Not last time, wonder why God intent keeping you alive. When you arrive Chester, father ahead. Already way south to London. Takes precious cargo. King Richard. Sequence events by which King fell into father's hands. Stuff of legend. Many opportunities. Hear story. Outline. Father landed Yorkshire, late June 1399. Marched through Lancastrian territory, gathering troops. Richard returned from Ireland. Try arrest progress, late July. Already late. Bolingbroke thousands troops, public support, tacit agreements, nobles. 1. Uncle Edmund Langley, Richard left in charge. Another, more important, Henry Percy, Earl of Northumberland. Powerful magnate North England. Veteran border dynast, pragmatic, pugnacious. Lived through changes, set aside faction attachment. Trim's alliances suit interests. Calculated cause best served backing Bolingbroke against Richard. July 1399. Not just acquiesce, actively helped chase down King. Richard returned fraction army, no plan. Able do nothing resist. Scampering Wales, drum up troops. No success. Took refuge Conwy Castle with handful supporters. August 14th, Northumberland went. Conwy coax out. Told Richard Bolingbroke sworn back, only claim inheritance, not threaten crown. Reluctantly, Richard agreed. Leave. Northumberland arrested him. Next day, Northumberland took King, meet Bolingbroke, nearby Flint Castle. Onlooker. Bolingbroke appeared full armor, meet cousin gate. Immediately scolded. Commonly said, governed them badly. Offered help, mend ways. Mending ways, not quite what Bolingbroke mined, for England. Richard, trapped, defeated. If it pleases you, fair cousin, it pleases us well, he said. From point on in Bolingbroke's keeping, at his mercy. Precisely where you go, what see during tumultuous weeks after return, Ireland, do not leave clear mark. Likely follow father's wake. Bolingbroke rides, Chester, Midlands, London. End of September latest, in London. Plenty marvel at. King locked in tower. Father charge. You initially find him staying Bishop of London's palace near St. Paul's. Bolingbroke moves to spacious Clerkenwell Priory, lolloping around him. Large greyhound, once Richard's, now defected. New pet light relief. Father manically busy. Visits Gaunt's tomb, St. Paul's first time. Weeps bitterly, publicly. Holds meetings with lawyers, historians, bishops, nobles. Commissions propaganda sheets around England. Accuses Richard collaborated with foreign powers. Extort magnates. Plotting keep peasants in greater subjection. Bolingbroke consumed by work. Task complex. Scarcely blamed return claim inheritance. Pursuit rights led country dangerous waters. Claims publicly, come only justice. Help Richard improve government. No one believes serious. Richard's track record revenge too far. Bolingbroke gone too far, settle duchy. Come replace. Big questions. With whom? How? First easier. Richard produced no heir, only child immediate family, 9-year-old wife. Applied mind to succession, preference heir presumptive, boy Edmund Mortimer. Claim rests descent. Female line Edward III's second son, Lionel Clarence. Edmund 7. Claim comes to matter. Causes torment later. Present circumstances. Edmund not serious alternative. One realistic candidate. Bolingbroke. Grandchild Edward III. Adult. Proven warrior. Man of world. Happens possession Richard II. None alone incontestable claim. Given circumstances, combination enough. Yet second question, how transfer justified, carried out? Norman conquest, only Edward II abdicated, replaced by eldest son. Traumatic, but early transfer. This not that. Bolingbroke's assumption, makeshift blend procedural, sleight of hand, spin, political lobbying, force. You must watch, learn. Day comes you, too, must dethrone king. On Saturday, October 11th, united second time. Unusual. Everything in England, unusual. Parliament assembled, do away with Richard Dunn job. Michaelmas, September 29th. Richard visited Tower, by delegation. Lords, bishops, knights, learned doctors. Asked vacate throne. Official account. Agreed cheerfully. Less partial. Greatly incensed. Previously harangued visitors. England, strange and fickle land, destroying men. Demanded, explained how resign. To whom? Bolingbroke visited. Blunt answer. Happening, no negotiation. Needed get on with it. Following day, Parliament met Westminster Hall. Estates told King renounced title. Handed signet ring to Bolingbroke. Would they accept decision? Yes, 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 yelled. Speaking English, not French Latin, Bolingbroke proposed self-new king. 3 grounds. Descended right line of the blood. Henry III. God of his grace has sent me. Not stepped up. England be undone for default of governance. Throne empty. Draped gold cloth. Bolingbroke fellow former exile Thomas Arundel, Archbishop Canterbury, led him to it. Bolingbroke sat. More cheers. Arundel preached. England ruled by grown-ups. When boy reigns, willfulness reigns, great danger threatens. Liberated. Your second knighting 11 days after this, weekend preceding father's coronation. One of 46 new knights. 3 brothers, Thomas, John, Humphrey. Exciting be back together. Must realize father, striving, clear, break from cousin's reign. Expected play, part tone change. Ceremony Tower of London. Elaborate. Serious. Boys bathe. Take instruction duties. Knighthood older men. Keep vigil Tower Chapel. Make confession. Hear mass. Dubbed with sword. Inducted new military fraternity. One day, Order of the Bath. 40-odd other young men knighted alongside you. Brothers. Your generation. Several scions' families suffered under Richard. Eldest sons, 1386. Appellants, Thomas Fitz-Allen, 17, heir murdered Arundel. Richard Beauchamp, 17, father exiled Warwick. Humphrey companion Trim survived trip home. Likely part grand occasion. Represents honoring youthful aristocratic generation. Carry collective burden ruling England. Afternoon Sunday, October 12th, Bolingbroke's coronation procession begins. Despite rain, you, brothers, set out from Tower. Richard languishes. Ride through London along Fleet Street to Westminster. Thousands others proceed. Streets hung with colorful cloth. Lined with fountains bubble wine. You, brothers, fellow knights of Bath, wear green, priestly cloaks. Father wears gold. Head bare. Neck hangs pendant. Grandfather Edward III's claim, also King's France. Right now, Bolingbroke. Being King England enough. Party arrives Westminster. King's sons lodge Abbey for night. Next day, Monday, October 13th, coronation proper. Bolingbroke taken to throne, draped gold cloth. Stripped waist, anointed holy oil. Used father's coronation, Virgin Mary relic. Redressed royal vestments, priestly. Ministered sacrament Christ's body, blood. Archbishop Arundel conducts ceremony, leads you to Edward Confessor's shrine. Place crown on head, shortly after, another. Arundel guides you through oaths. Promise uphold laws, customs, protect church, see justice. Hours of bearing swords, singing hymns, anthems. Done. Retire momentarily. King. Must break bread subjects. Great Hall, Westminster Palace venue coronation feast. You sit raised above people. Dais, canopy. Not long you hear before. 13. Attended father. Held Curtana. Kingmaker Northumberland attention. Unlike father, no son carries sword. You reflect. No Northumberland worry about. Arrived here alone. So this King Henry V. Who knew King hundreds guests banquet see. 26. Prime manhood. Inevitably different figure than father last decade. More like father young years. Lean, strong, athletic, handsome. Beneath coif, full head straight brown hair, dark eyes, broad forehead, thin Plantagenet nose, neck long, slender, cheeks clean shaven, lips crimson. Below right eye, may bear scars, Bradmore's surgery. Worn scar, 10 years. Still young enough, one monk calls you, residing in appearance of an angel. Same monk. You sit angelic. Guests feast, fish, swan, fowl. Seems very happy. Others see different. Some pick at food, stern. Overnight assumed exaggerated seriousness. Hint of levity squeezed out transformation. As soon as invested emblems, royalty, suddenly became different man. Chaplain, religious awakening. After first taken seat, wrote first law, Deuteronomy volume breast. Third writer, reformed, no hint youth, chi, wildness, gravity and discretion. As if knows moment pivotal. Something profound happened day coronation. What? Some observers. Born again, religious awakening, moral reformation. Setting aside princely youth for sobriety. King Henry decided, physically embody heaviness, new royal office, transformation, dramatic hinge stories, legends, told 100 years after. What exactly is, means, not easy pin down. Cartoon history, Henry's life, reign, dramatic rendering chronicler 1470s, crystallized legend Shakespeare. Before King, Hal, lightweight, flippant, sensuous gadfly, lover women, charmer men, plays fool, moment father's death, realizes cannot cavort. Chronicle, Prince Wales, intended greatly riot, become king, great charge, sends away friends, Shakespeare, Falstaff, knuckles down, attractive story, masterfully told Shakespeare, dramatic exaggeration from patchwork evidence, inspiration, untamed youth, pseudo-Elmum claims, seethed flames, Venus, Italian biographer Tito Livio, quarter century after, coronation, Henry put aside youth, wildness, for gravity, discretion. Anglo-Irish nobleman James Butler, Ormond, contemporary, Henry friends, disguised as highwaymen, robbing acquaintances, repaying handsomely. Gossip between generations, improbable account young Henry, assaulting royal judge William Gascoigne. Henry's supposed abandonment, bad company, reminiscence, Ormond. Accession, Henry calls old friends, change life, conversation, or depart upon pain of their heads. Charge elaborated chronicler, sacks all but 3 sober men, hated, now respects, all alluring, melodramatic, appealing dramatic narrative, partially true, roll altogether Shakespearean portrait, roustabout tearaway before coronation, changes after, setting aside everything else no, made mistakes, Flirted ruin father's last years. Underestimated father. Allowed brother Thomas surpass. Not same charges as garbled whispers. Never been Hal. Self-reinvention. April 9th, 1413. Nothing to do with forswearing taverns, shosh women. Best understood. Masterful demonstration. Favorite tactic. Used critical moments. Gloucester Parliament. Aberystwyth crisis. Badby burning. Reconciliation. Father Westminster. 1412. Trick learned from Richard II. Performing. Well-judged performance. U26. Familiar political figure half-life. Enjoyed fuller apprenticeship kingship than any since Edward the Fir. Subjects know you. Long time anticipate arrival. Cannot allow familiarity breed contempt. Understand succeed. Free self clearly. Without delay obligations incurred as prince. Present self-embodiment justice. Available all subjects. Above tug faction. Why sits Westminster Hall? Greasy oil anointing. Political nation feet. Unveils new demeanor. Showing self not just new man, new political being entirely. Truth. Newfound seriousness does not require wholesale changing ways. Gravity, religiosity, intensity focus essential character. Adding chastity, economy speech, severity, hardly radical departure. Transformation, real. Best thought, hardening features into mask, never slip. Night father died, evening before coronation. Spent time praying, confessing. Sins, Hermit Westminster, William Alnwick. King now, seldom seen without entourage priests, preachers, praying men. Carmelite friars employed further confessions. Piety, earnestness, sobriety, pursuit justice God's will. Traits define you. Not always easy company. Serve dreadful, magnificently. Unlike Richard II, king of substance as well as style. 2 years after coronation, French spy report describes passing character king. Ministers, king has fine manner. Spy, Henry remained chaste since coronation. Opinion, sounds better suited church than war. Before long, plain, how partial reading. Despite sincere devotion, ritual, prayer, privately enjoy secular pleasures. Watching wrestlers, musicians, enjoys japing court fool William, spends sums wine merchants, tailors, immerses self-Arthurian knights, personal piety, no way at odds, growing expertise, enthusiasm, military campaigning, religiosity, pitiless generalship, hand in hand, like churchman, warrior monk. Nevertheless, spy observation, king unusually straight-laced, completeness of mask, slipped forever over face day coronation. Congratulations, it's after Easter 1413. The good news? You leave Westminster Palace for a holiday. The bad news? Your first destination holds a grim reminder of your father's past. You travel northwest to spend Easter at King's, Langley, Hertfordshire. Fine place. Royal residence, extended manor house, modernized. Public halls, lavish apartments, large, brightly painted. Huge kitchens, private bathhouses, windows glazed, fires, crackle. Entertaining rooms lit by candelabra. Outside, clock installed Edward III. Chime bell across courtyards. Acres vineyards, parkland. Excellent ground hunting, spotting exotic beasts. 100 years ago, camel-gifted Edward II wandered. King's Langley, more than comfortable retreat. Symbolically charged place for first visit as king. Adjacent, House Dominican Friars, Blackfriars. Priory Church, Tomb King, Richard II. U13, Richard laid rest, Pontefract Castle. Witnessed perfunctory mourning, Richard afforded London. Aim chiefly, persuade citizens, old king dead. Disregard dead king's will, rankled Henry. Knew Richard's indulgent, affectionate side. Violent caprice. Now, Weeks after, laid father rest, king childhood on mind. Easter week, carry out customary royal duty, distributing Maundy Thursday alms poor. 400 charitable gifts, 3,000 paupers. More significant, donate 25 shillings Black Friars. Gift, during Good Friday. Ritual, creeping to cross. Faithful assemble Kings Langley. Crawl hands, knees, kiss crucifix. Humble journey past Richard's burial place. Creep, made up mind what to do. Old king exhumed, moved place, he wished lie. Another tomb, Westminster Abbey, corpse Richard's first wife Anne Bohemia awaits. Before year out, send Richard be with her. Concern setting right wrongs done. Richard, reasoning own. Richard no one's idea fine king. Showed Henry kindnesses, taught lessons. Feel personal debt. Atoning father's failure. Honor Richard's will, not only conscience. Satisfies political desire. Make start reign time reconciliation. Began process coronation weekend. Raised knighthood Mortimer brothers. Heirs epiphany plotters. Weeks follow. Cultivate sense. Fresh start. First Parliament reign opens May 15th, 1413, month after creeping cross Kings Langley. By now began reshuffling government personnel. Key posts, men known long time, trusted, lead royal council, central office, chancellor uncle, longtime collaborator, Bishop Henry Beaufort. Treasurer, Thomas Fitzallen, Arundel, sent in charge 1411 expedition France help John Fearless. Richard Beauchamp, Warwick, veteran Agincourt, battle Shrewsbury, brought heart royal affairs, roving roll diplomacy, government. Hardly surprising, Arundel removed, replaced, Henry's arch-loyalist, Beaufort. Yet Henry takes care not restore everyone father removed 1411, shows willing rely men father's world as well as his. Sir Thomas Erpingham, 60-year-old knight, courtier, diplomat, confidant father, appointed steward royal household. Perform job for Henry IV, similar stage reign. Chamberlain, Sir Henry Fitzhugh, Yorkshireman, similar vintage Erpingham. Loyal service. Henry IV, old king trusted Fitzhugh enough. Send him aboard ships, took sister Philippa Scandinavian, wedding 1406, pattern appointments. Henry blending men, served him well, with stalwarts. Father Jas Lancaster House, repeated every level. Council, household, royal representative shires. Bishop Beaufort, opening speech parliament. Lays out intended philosophy kingship. Draws theme Ecclesiastes. Let reason go before every enterprise, counsel. King Beaufort promises committed to 3 things: effective support, royal estate, good governance, upholding laws, nurturing foreign allies, resisting enemies. Direct continuation theme, Beaufort 1410, princely tenure quasi-regent, speaking pillars justice, but now explains, guarantee good intent, newly intensified religious demeanor, Ecclesiastes, countenance sign, changing heart, message open ears, goodwill receptive audience, first parliament agrees generous tax, need money acute, situation, France volatile. May, well stay. Parliament agrees, tax wool exports, 4 years, income tax, 15th and 10th. Granted, Commons say, great love, affection, good governance. King assures money, well spent. Plan, settle father's debts, fund royal household before paying annuities. Followers, listens, sympathy complaints, violence, law-breaking. Commons grumble, clerics laying fines, adulterers instead whipping, agrees look, rail flooding caused rivers recoursed artificial fish ponds, agrees loss, life intolerable. Finally, gift realm, further demonstration commitment, new beginning, grants general amnesty, pardon almost all crimes committed England up till opening, immunity offered, Stealing animals, firewood, paperwork offenses, claim pardon, apply Christmas for charter, pay fee, cost steep, cheaper than lawsuit, certainly beats hanging. Parliament disperses. Henry must hope efforts promote harmony, balance rewarding supporters, embracing old servants, buy respite from plotting bedeviled father. Critical, existential. Poet, king's crown symbol, lords, commons, clergy, all at one assent. If we among ourselves debate, then ends flower of chivalry. All other lands. Hate, our feebleness, will aspie. Despite efforts, Henry not enjoy relief. First plot against crown, realm, life, hatched. Source worryingly close. June 1413. Parliament closing. Bishops led by Archbishop Arundel, recently ousted Chancellor, visit Henry Kennington Palace. Complain one friends. Kennington comfortable manor house. Parkland South London Bridge. Spiral staircases. Grand chimneys. Installed Black Prince. One Henry's regular haunts since teenager Duke Cornwall. As such, Kennington hosted many longtime associates. One of these youth acquaintances clerics complain about. John Oldcastle, Lord Cobham, Oldcastle 10 years older, respectable family Herefordshire gentry, distinguished military record, 1407 Wales Wars, helped blast Aberystwyth Castle. Next year married Joan Cobham, claimed baronial title. Autumn 1409, represented England high-profile jousting, Lille. 1411, alongside Arundel, Warwick, captain's mission, helped John Fearless. Oldcastle known not only associate, but friend. One matter sharply part ways. Heresy, 3 years, longer. Oldcastle promoter Chotki, protector, Lollardy. John Badby, burning 1410, common knowledge. Oldcastle Lollard, preacher, living with him, Kent. Protected, Cooling Castle. Oldcastle sponsored preacher, others, railing against false teachings, church. Chronicler, Oldcastle. Present in person, wicked sermons, put down hecklers, terrifying threats. Not all. Besides preaching stable, exchanges letters, dangerous radicals, Bohemia, collects heretical books, specific complaints, June 1413, raid London premises, book illuminator, suspected Lollard, unbound sheaf, heretical essays confiscated, illuminator identifies papers, Oldcastle's, Arundel bishops visit, question Oldcastle, batted them away nonchalantly, admits papers his, breezy not read, bishops urge Henry reign in friend, acknowledge Oldcastle's long-standing association, crown, knightly status, insist grotesque nature heresies, jarring with Henry's regal, ultra-religious demeanor. Henry agrees, appears so, admits heresies disgusting, asks time bring Oldcastle back senses, bishops hope serious, not last here matter. Summer 1413, Henry shows a little urgency, religious re-education. July, advances Oldcastle, 400 marks settle debt. August, pays for 26 wrestlers, Windsor Forest, where king hunts deer. Oldcastle knows man, wrestling Henry's favorite spectator sport. Cocky, Windsor overplays hand, presumes lecture king finance, religion, politics, tells him for every friar cut off, treasury swell. Rehash Lollard petition, 1410 Parliament. Wholesale land confiscations means re-endowing crown. Tone-deaf, stupid. Stirs Henry. Rounds on Oldcastle, berates impudence. Oldcastle shocked. Takes umbrage, flight. Leaves Windsor, rides home Cooling Castle. Barricades doors. Abusing friendship. Issue made clear. Oldcastle asking for trouble. After argument, Windsor, Henry realizes, wasted time, no purpose, bring Oldcastle back errors. Sends word Arundel proceed against him heresy. Royal officers appear. Cooling Castle, warn arrest. Baron defying Arundel's summons, sees resisting leads, serious trouble. Hands self in. Taken tower await trial. Hearing late September, Blackfriars. Oldcastle examined points. Tries preempt statement beliefs. English. Document. Opinions. True presence. Eucharist. Necessity. Confession. Value. Pilgrimages. On paper. Views reasonable. Oral examinations. Contrary. Testy. Rude. Describes Pope, true Antichrist. Sweeps arms. Tells listeners beware. Arundel, fellow clerics, leading both you down to hell. Archbishop Arundel presiding. Shedding tears. Exasperation. Pity. Little choice. Proceed judgment. Declares heretic. Excommunicates. Condemns. Sun, wickedness, darkness, hardened heart. Hands over secular authorities face punishment. Like Badby, Oldcastle burned. Blow to Henry. Test hardness resolve. Knowing Oldcastle, experience Lollards. Not surprised, friend stubborn. Still hopes convince Saveskin. Convention. Convicted heretics allowed extended period consider burned. Henry. Arundel grant reprieve. Unlike Badby, year to brood, Oldcastle given 40 days imprisonment tower. Once again, Oldcastle not just incorrigible. Unthankful Henry's grace. Sent back, tower September 25th, 1413. 3.5 weeks later, night October 19th. Escapes. Broken cell, Die Hard, Lollard, Richard Roth. Sympathetic bookmaker, William Fisher. Oldcastle disappears. London Underground Network, Lollard Radicals, conspire in holes, corners, power both swords. From shadows, stirs like-minded dissenters. Campaign armed resistance. Oldcastle's target, organized church. King he nicknames Prince Priests. Like Hotspur 10 years before, Oldcastle transformed friend into mortal enemy. Same months, Oldcastle irritation. King continues arrangements, ancestors' bodies, souls. May, July 1413, orders new tomb. Mother Mary, copper effigy, Leicester Cathedral. June, Trinity weekend, hosts grand service remembrance, Old King Canterbury Cathedral. Brother Thomas attends, returned France. Banners representing King's Christendom arrayed. Lit thousands torches. Next month, Henry goes back Canterbury. Present sumptuous gift, Becket's tomb. Golden head decorated pearls, jewels, matching gold candlesticks. Lavish patronage, saving noblest gesture year end. December 4th, royal body brought Westminster Abbey burial. Richard II's, released from Grave King's Langley Priory Church. Borne south slowly horse-drawn hearse. New coffin, black velvet draped. Keeping with Richard's will, progress with torches, ecclesiastics, nobles walking behind. Richard reaches Westminster. Henry waits. Service designed match father's interment. Same royal banners. Lights blaze around coffin. Richard lowered tomb, where first wife Anne Bohemia lain since 1394. Buried and put in his own sepulchre that he made himself. Londoner remembers. Thomas Hoccleve, Treatise on Kingship 1411, writes poem Commemorate Occasion, praises Henry's benignity, loving heart. King Richard, not fled from his remembrance. Wit sufficeth not describe honor. Brought town, Queen Westminster Abbey, solemnly tomb laid. With ceremony, Henry's mission, honor Richard's memory, right wrongs deposition, almost complete. Last steps, building projects. Secular, commissions works, rebuild Manor Sheen. Richard torn down Anne Bohemia's death. Plans spend heavily. Stone Gatehouse, Yorkshire. Kentish ragstone walls. Window glass London. Suites offices. Living apartments. Kitchen decorated giant wooden antelope. Antelope Lancastrian symbol. Flourish. Otherwise design, construction, Richard admired. Second building works. Religious. Hockleave. Henry reinterment Richard II from instinct unity. Same instinct. Opponent Lollardy. Defender Catholicism. Liege Lord King. Champion Holy Church. Look up Albion. God thank. Christian Prince pray. Soul's health. Lock. Key. Channeling spirit. Henry plans construction 3 religious houses. Fulfillment penance imposed Father Pope Gregory XIII for deposing Richard II, executing Archbishop Scrope. Foundations. Carthusian Charter House, opposite New Manor Sheen. Nearby, dual house Men, Women, Scion. Seated Brigantine Sisters, rule popular Sweden, where Sister Philippa Queen. Celestine House, somewhere same region. Only first 2 projects fruition. Henry Keene interest monastic foundations progress. Rather than Lollardy represents interest religious reform. Oldcastle dreams, ripping fabric English religion, stripping property, purging doctrine. Henry, far more traditional. Monasticism, reorganized, revived. Church bolstered, refreshed, conservative. Approach orthodox pedigree. Yet Henry's bid political reconciliation, religious renewal, not allowed proceed smoothly. Shortly after laid Richard rest, tentative steps revitalizing monasticism, finds crown under urgent threat. Escaped Oldcastle, Lollard allies, make last attempt, put Henry throne. Install ghost, Richard, or nearest man, find him. As 1413 draws close, Henry plans, observe 12 nights, Christmas Eltham Palace, once father's favorite. All 3 brothers there. Large order, French-Portuguese wines, placed revelers. Actors known mummers, hired entertain. 1 booked 12th night. Christmas time approaches. No specific cause worry. Security tight. Oldcastle not seen since disappeared tower 2 months earlier. Known followers sending notes sedition. New jailer tower reported suspicious visits other Lollards. You, Thomas, John, Humphrey. Remember Christmas time 14 years earlier. Flee Windsor Castle during Epiphany Rising. Royal household ready celebrate. Do so degree caution. 12th night itself, January 5th. News plot breaks. 2 carpenters. London lose nerve. Turn selves in. Exchange cash reward. Spill details imminent attempt. Lives King brothers. Mummers include kidnapper assassins. Charged seizing king princes before large-scale rebellion descends London. Instead, finishing Christmas with flourish. Henry swings action. Leaves Eltham, moves Westminster Palace. Mayor London organizes raids, arrests, pubs, harbor Lollard networks, axe Bishopsgate, wrestlers, hoop Smithfield. Royal agents sent keep watch, safe house Oldcastle. Orders sent sheriffs keep watch illegal assemblies. Days follow, potential scale uprising clear. Henry learns 20,000 Lollard sympathizers planning March London. Assemble January 10th, Fickett's Field. 5,000 Londoners expected join. Breathless chronicler. Every path, crowds, brought London, extravagant promises. Most extravagant reports. Intend, vandalize St. Paul's, Westminster Abbey, rob friaries, put Oldcastle charge realm. January 9th, Henry urgent decision. Wait, see if rebellion serious as spies tell, or strike early. Henry chooses act. Evening January 9th, assembles advisors. 3 brothers, Arundel, Warwick. Leads troops from Household to St. Giles's Field, North rebels muster point. Order London gates, barred guarded armed men. Lie in wait. Tension high. Chaplain. Amazing, lamentable madness. Heavens seem feel it. Meteor streaks night sky. Something remarkable starts happen. Small groups, Lollards clearly from far out town, unfamiliar London geography, start appearing darkness, confused, disorganized, mistake royal troops fellow plotters, Ask which way go find Oldcastle. All Henry's men need do. Grab, haul to prison. Daybreak approaches. Rebels' numbers swell. Becoming clear king ahead. Londoners planned join. Stuck behind barred gates. Inside outside walls. Further raids. Oldcastle, frustratingly nowhere found rumored safe house. Slips net, disappears Lollard underworld. January 10th dawns. Rebellion over. Within hours, Lollard rising collapse. January 10th, 1414, justice served. Dozen prisoners seized. Put trial tower. Sentence die. 3 days later, gallows grim St. Giles's Field. Guilty strung up. Refuse. Recant Lollardy. Burned dead. Site lodged folk memory. Woodcuts depict hangings. Rebels roasting fires choke hangman's noose. Most killed January. 2 months judicial inquiries. Ordinary artisans. Tradesmen. Servants. Violent deaths show new king intends deal. These cursed superstitious heretics. Those presume threaten peace. First Parliament. Beaufort. Henry committed good governance. Upholding laws. Needs show no empty words. As much mercy as retribution. Henry's response. Accused. Convicted. Knights. Gentry. Never squirmed dispensing justice. Neither forgets. Began reign. 9 months earlier spirit reconciliation. No jeopardize making needless martyrs. Several hundred rebels arrested. 60-odd convicted. Half executed. Rest prison. Others pardoned. Suspects heresy not treason. Women included. Bounced secular clerical courts. Bounty on Oldcastle's head. Meanwhile, Henry positive show orthodoxy. Remind subjects true religion looks like. Commands. Litanies performed. Processions made. Give thanks. Most high sour after destruction. So great crop evil. Loyal. Henry, at time emphasize unruffled. Amid storms, stresses, Mind King remained firm. Chaplain, unshakable. Not everyone enjoy confidence. French diplomatic embassy visits England height Lollard crisis. Members sent Armagnac dukes. Discuss treaty. Arrive December. Depart February. 1414. Witness uprising start to finish. No matter calm, collected, not ideal time foreign delegation. Kingdom's reputation, regicide, insurrection, revolution. Henry tries shake off. Thanks Oldcastle. Impression sticks. Inconvenient, embarrassing. If things messy England, affairs far worse channel. French 1413 dreadful year. Paris convulsed, new rioting, murder stirred John Fearless. League powerful butchers. Duke encouraged populist rising. Revolt Cabotians. Thugs white caps controlled streets Paris. Stormed Bastille. Broke royal residence. 4 months bloody mayhem. Revolt put down Armagnacs. John Fearless escaped. Hold up Flanders. Plotting next move. Meanwhile, south little better. Guyenne overrun since 1412. English Expeditionary Army. Brother Thomas. Thomas returned to England. Troops stayed Bordeaux. Thomas Beaufort. Ravaged countryside. Extorted cash payments. Captured prisoners. Soldiers 18 months robbing Guyenne. View France place enterprising soldier. Make fortune. Share realization mercenaries elsewhere. Finally, Charles VI. Insanity, root, calamities. No sign, regaining wits, dying. Eldest son, Dauphin Louis, 17, January 1414. Alternative figure, stable government. He alone cannot end hatred between factions. Personally torn. Married John Fearless's daughter. Fearing, hating father-in-law. Not share Armagnac thirst for revenge. Early 1414, Louis ensconced Paris Armagnac dukes. Test limits trust brokering peace. All present situation agonizing French. Promises opportunity Henry. French politics, changeable. Hard know where stand month to month. Vast amounts military resources wasted subjects fight. 2 courts. English playoff. Boy, Henry saw Richard II tantalizingly close achieving long-term settlement. Nearly 20 years ago, Henry won chance own make peace. Never better time. Diplomatic protocol. Truces, treaties, thrashed out a new change ruler. Regular exchange missions. Henry's court, French factions start reign. Meetings, demands, proposals tested. English goal essence, turn clock back, 1360. Seal arrangement marriage. Force French observe Bretigny concessions. Control expanded Guyenne, Poitiers, Ponthieu. Third French territory. Return, Henry surrender. English claim King's France. Likely seek French princess marriage. One remaining unmarried Catherine, 12. Daughter, Duke Burgundy. Unsurprisingly, neither agreed lopsided proposals. Sea change sweeping English policy. Bears marks bold instincts. Henry Wales. Second Parliament year. Due open Westminster November. Bishop Henry Beaufort opens. More aggressive delivered before. Tree time germinates, flowers, men's lives rhythm. Man given time peace, time war toil. King Henry decided time fight. You sit up in your medieval bed. The morning fog is just lifting outside, revealing the damp ground of the English countryside. Your body aches from the familiar aches of this life, but you know what must be done. Let the sounds of the distant river and the rustling straw lull you gently as you drift deeper into the quiet stillness of the night, ready to face whatever challenges the new day may bring.